Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to A Better World with Adrienne. I am so excited and grateful to welcome you to this episode. I have a special guest for today, Jacquelynne Holmes. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's the second time you've been on, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so I am with Jacquelynne in person in Phoenix on the way to Sedona for the Sedona retreat. And I've been wanting to do this transmission with her for a while. And I was like, yay, we get to do it in
Yeah.
person. So before we dive into the transmission, you officially meet Jacq. Let's call upon the altar. So, A Better World with Adrienne, everything we speak about, channel about, connect about in this space is for the highest timeline and good of all, of really building a world that we're proud of. And so part of that is saying thank you to life, which is the altar. So on the altar today, we have our sister stones. If you're watching on YouTube, I found these two stones. They're two rose quartz stones. I don't know. How many years ago was that?
I was trying to remember. I don't know. Maybe two.
Two?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I found
Two or three.
two or three. I got guided to these stones and they were together and I was like, "Oh, these are actually sister stones. One is for me, one is for Jacq, and it's to connect us in love through time and space and literally everything that happens in this crazy thing called New Earth creation." So, that's on the altar today, just the unconditional love of rose quartz and friendship and connection, and the fact that when two or more of us are gathered and we're committed to God's plan, um, we can connect beyond time and space. So that's on the altar. Yeah. We also have, what is this one? The tower
Lapis lazuli
for the throat chakra.
and a bracelet. A lot of that.
Yeah, a lot of the throat chakra, a lot of truth. We've both been getting a lot for the color blue. What's this crystal?
Apophyllite.
Apophyllite. And what does it mean to you?
So apophyllite it's a delicate stone, but it teaches surrender as well. If it breaks, now you have two pieces of it. It's just a very it's one of the newer crystals that I've worked with. So I don't know what the collective definition of it is or like the collective energy that it brings, but just the transmissions that I've brought through for it. So
Yeah. Can you say it one more time?
apophyllite.
Apophyllite.
It's from that piece is from Morocco. And yeah, as you notice, it's like everyone is so unique based off of like how the crystals form on the surface of it. So like that one stood out to you.
Yeah, she gifted this to me yesterday, and there's just like one little shiny piece of it, and I'm like, this is important.
Yeah.
So that's on the altar. And we also have serpentine on the altar, which is a psychic protection stone, right?
Yes. So this is from I think it's called the Wild Turkey Mine in Washington State, which is where I'm from. And then this serpentine is unique because it's super bright green. Most serpentine is more of a muted color. I actually have one right there. That's more of a muted color. This one's nice and lime green. Yes, really good for protection. It's a return to sender.
Return to sender energy in case there's the opponent in your field.
If there's nefarious energies sent your way.
Yeah. So we have a big crystal family. We have Jacq and I here. And then the last element of the altar, because remember, the altar is how we say thank you in advance to spirit. It is an ancient code. It is when we shift from becoming takers to like thank you. It's like I'm just so thankful for this opportunity. I'm gonna set the stage for spirit to come through. And the last piece on the altar is always life force energy. So no matter where you're tuning in from, if you're walking, if you're driving, if you're sitting down with this podcast, we're going to take 3 deep breaths, which connects us beyond time and space. So feel your feet on Mother Earth. Inhale through your nose. Exhale out the mouth. Allow your heart to relax into this space. Inhale through your nose. Exhale out the mouth. Let go of everything you're holding on to. Inhale through your nose. Connect your energy to our energy, knowing that this transmission has a golden nugget of wisdom for you. Keep holding at the top because you're strong. Feel yourself suspended in time. The divine white light, the energy you're bringing to this connection. Exhale out the mouth. Gently open your eyes. The portal is open. I'm so excited to welcome you, Jacq. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me back on.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to bring you on for so many different reasons, like specifically to talk about New Earth economy and what that means and your perspective on it. Because so Jacq is my friend, also my colleague, also my spiritual soul sister, and she's also recently like rebranded the way she presents herself in the world back to being a money witch. So I just feel like I just keep getting like there's so much richness here that you're gonna offer and perspective for like what is the New Earth economy, like how do we engage with it? What does it mean to birth it? So yeah, I guess I would just love to start with I'm honestly like I just woke up crying today because I'm so grateful for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, and like to have the business connection, but also the soul connection is I just kept getting, by the way, everybody like spending time with Jacq in person. I've met her once in person, but never like super extended. So it's like really, really special. And my like psychic channel just blasted open. So just thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah,
it's a great time.
It is. So how would you describe yourself if I say, okay, Jacq's a money witch, like what does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's, that is the core of the service that I'm here to offer. So outside of the 3D definition of it being, I own an accounting business, I support, businesses with financial organization, and then I also do psychic work and money coaching and things like that for people. But the overarching theme is for me is money witch because I feel like that's first off, witch is a really important title for women to reclaim. And that is such a dormant energy that a lot of women are holding. So ultimately, part of what I'm here to do, a big part of what I'm here to do is initiate and activate people. And so being a money witch serves as that because it's really bringing forth multiple taboos to people, like we were talking about yesterday, multiple taboos, and really the goal being to empower women into their own witch path, their own creation energy, and like connect deeper to their divine service and start becoming wealthy from their divine service. That's what it's all about for me. So right now, money, which means US dollars, the Federal Reserve, all of that, right? But really a lot of my work is asking people to expand their definition of abundance beyond just dollars, beyond just money, into their other resources, their time, their energy, other things that could be considered currency in the future, to really set people up for the transition that I think is coming in the currency within the next several years, the transitions that are coming with our government, our way of life, everything. So yeah, that's money witch vibe.
There's like 10 ways we could go. So why do you think Two immediate questions, because the whole, I guess, like grounding cord of this episode is about the new earth economy, and
Mhm.
new earth is okay, we're bringing the ancient codes back to the forefront of like the
Mhm.
way we do life, reharmonizing the planet, like not to something new, to something so old it feels new.
Yeah.
Limitless abundance, freedom, which I know is a core value of yours. Two things. First, why is witch a like why is that such an important word, and why do people have a visceral response to that word?
Yeah, so which is important, especially, I mean, men as well, but
Yeah.
especially for women because because of the persecution that occurred against essentially powerful women. Like, what is a witch at the end of the day? The religious propaganda would tell you it's someone that made a deal with the devil, but truly at its core, what it was the patriarchy being intimidated by powerful women, by healers, by women that worked with the earth, by women that held spiritual knowledge. So
Mhm.
I think that, that's always resonated with me a lot more than identifying as like a priestess or a queen or that type
Yeah.
of energy. And
Mhm.
maybe there's further lineage to go back, but for a lot of women, the witch experience is going to be a much closer lifetime, and it really just represents like a reclamation of your power and no longer stifling, that intuitive power
Mhm.
in order to fit into a system, which is used as by some people as a rude term to call someone like, oh, they're a witch or whatever, or,
Mhm.
oh, are you a witch? I want to stay away from the witches. And I think the women that are able to see beyond that and see into their curiosity around that term, there's like a
Mhm.
lot of activations available.
Yeah, and like I love how you use the word curiosity, which by the way, Jacq is a Gemini sun, but she's Scorpio rising and Scorpio moon, and we're recording this at a Scorpio full moon. And so
Mhm.
Scorpio rules the psychic realm, and it rules all the taboo topics, which
Mhm.
are sex, money, power, obviously the witch
Mhm.
stuff. And we were saying yesterday offline, like taboos exist so people are more easily manipulated. And so basically you're like, here, here's this taboo, the word witch. I'm gonna put it in front as this like playful curiosity, because even one of my teachers, she always said, like, why do witches have brooms? Because like you've got to clean to make good magic. And it brings that like childlike wonder back into it of like, oh, like this is like magic is real, you know?
Mhm.
And the witch wound is huge. Like the people that I work with in breath work, a lot of it, like when it comes down to, okay, I want to not even want to, but like it's time for me to be openly magical
Yeah.
and powerful. It's a visceral fear in the body
Yeah.
because it's very real past life experiences of like hey, I actually was burned at the stake
Mhm.
for this. Like it actually was unsafe. So it's important to acknowledge that it's like not a limiting belief. Like it's
Right.
alive in the body.
Right. Yeah. And that was, several years ago, before I really resonated with that label or that term, the whole witch wound thing to me became kind of like a meme or a cliche. Like,
Hmm.
oh, I have a witch wound. But when you really break it down and it that whole time frame, that witch trials were asking everyone to really minimize their power and
Hmm.
hide their power. So it's not surprising that so many people are psychically waking up or spiritually waking up and they're going, oh yeah, that power isn't safe, like that
Right.
pattern is still there. So yeah, that's a
Hmm.
big part of it too, is at the end of the day, it's none of it is actually about money. It's about power. It's about how you hold power. So
Right. And how does that apply to men? Because a lot of, you mentioned it a little bit, but
mhm.
like I have a lot of I'm having more male clients, which is really exciting to me.
Mhm.
And like listeners of the podcast. And you work with men and women, so like
Mhm.
how does that apply? I guess what would you call what's a magical man? A wizard? I don't even
Yeah.
know whatever he wants to be called, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think that there's not as much of a need for a label for a powerful man, right?
Right.
When we think about that, it's almost inherent that a man is just not like, why would he be repressing his power and stuff? So yeah,
Hmm.
I think men, psychically waking up and realizing their magical potential, you could be a boy witch too. You might be a
Yeah.
boy witch. Don't force yourself to be a wizard or a warlock. Just be a boy witch.
Just be your real self. How about that? Well, and like the psychic part of it too, because you have a very psychic connection to money itself.
Hmm.
How do you experience that and how do you use it to guide?
Yeah, I mean, I experience it in terms of my sensory is um, seeing like numbers being colors, things like being able to identify patterns in money
Hmm.
and being able to look at a set of numbers and just naturally or intuitively be guided to where the outlier is, things like
Mm.
that.
And you use that to guide your clients to their highest path of abundance.
Yes. Sorry, did you want to turn the light back on or?
Oh yeah, we must be doing something powerful because
Yeah.
the light just went out. I think it's fine.
Okay, cool. I
Yeah.
just want to roll with that. Like that distracted me just a little bit. So yeah, seeing it as just like a set of numbers, and also just being able to see, when I help people with money, seeing their patterns and how they spend,
Mhm.
how your spending is a lot of times reflected in how money shows up. So
Mhm.
when there's a spending pattern that isn't the best for like your long-term financial security or even your short-term financial security, or um there's your spending habits are being used as a means to cover up some other underlying issue that's going on, some sort of ego battle, some sort of needing to prove it to other people.
Mm.
That's always reflected to me in the actual numbers more so than the words that they're saying or things like
Mhm.
that. So that's kind of a little bit into like the psychic experience around money, but it also can look like receiving downloads and flashes of insight. Like I had one client experience where I had a dream that she made a certain amount of money at a certain time frame. I had a lot of the details, and that ended up coming to fruition like 9 or 10 months later, the exact vision that I had. So it also shows up that way too.
So you're a huge asset.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
when I support people, if their business is struggling, they're struggling to make sales, or they're making plenty of money, but it's just going out the back door as fast as it comes in. It's a lot of times it seems like it's an organization problem or a money problem, a money block to work through, but a lot of times it is actually an energetic thing. It's
Hmm.
something that needs to be alchemized and moved through. And
Yeah.
the numbers are really just like the document of what's actually happening. But what's actually happening is within your own energy,
Yeah.
within your own behaviors and your own subconscious, things like that.
Well, that's money is just energy, right? And it's all just resource. And I mean, there's two kinds of, to me, New Earth is like, okay. And I would love your perspective on this because there's basically two economies going on right now. We have the New Earth economy that's being birthed, where it's this like, we're in abundance, right? And then there's also the Matrix economy, which is like crumbling
Mhm.
and it's very rooted in scarcity. There's not enough, there's not enough, there's not enough. And so it's interesting because I unplugged from the Matrix economy and plugged into New Earth economy like I don't know, 2019-ish. And I also do what's correct or like what's required of me in the current 3D reality in the
Mhm.
Matrix
Mhm.
because, obviously, like paying taxes is good to not, get arrested and all of that
Yeah,
stuff.
you pay
So,
you pay them under threat of incarceration, but yeah. Yeah, and that's like, what we're seeing is like this half fallen, half risen. It really isn't, the new earth economy isn't even really half risen yet, right? Like it's just in the seeds of it, and it's something that's going to continue evolving. And like, in this current lifetime, like you and I might not see it fully blossom,
mhm,
probably won't see it fully blossom into like its potential and, what it's supposed to be. But,
mhm,
you're very right about like one structure crumbling, the other rising, but you still have to play by the 3D rules. You still have to play by the matrix rules. And that's why I think it's like we can't have our definition of abundance tied to a specific currency, because the
mm,
currency is what's going to change.
mm,
The frequency of the currency has already been shifting. Like you're saying, you're plugging into the new earth economy,
mhm,
earning money from your soul's gifts, like, the service work that you're doing,
mhm.
and also how you're circulating money. So that's not a currency thing. That's a frequency that you're
Yeah,
bringing.
the energy.
You're applying it to essentially a dead entity, like a non-living currency. You're applying it to
Mm.
that. That's going to be the interchangeable thing that's switched out in the new earth economy.
So it's the same energy we're going to be moving, and it's all like the relationship with, okay, like giving and receiving energetically in
Mhm.
all these different ways, but the way it's going to appear is going to shift and change. And like
Mhm.
right now, it's cash.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it'll be so interesting to see because I mean, the Age of Aquarius, there's so much innovation. There could be a currency that we don't even know exists.
Yeah, there definitely could be. There definitely could be. I think it's more I how I visualize the new earth economy is it's going to be more elemental to the earth. So
Mm.
it's going to be like, for example, we have a bunch of silver pieces here. We forgot to bring that part up on the altar. Here's one
Mm.
for you.
With a snake on it.
So, silver, this came from the earth. This represents like a finite resource. Whereas like paper money or like money, US dollars as we know it, I mean, there's trillions and trillions of notes in existence. That's not, it is in a sense an infinite resource, and the strings are pulled by someone else. This is more grounding. I really
Mm.
think that when we look at how the currency is going to change over the next like 50 years, let's say, there's going to be an earthening into grounding before
Mhm.
there's something that's more like ethereal, which is why, the concept of crypto, while I maybe like philosophically believe in it and like a decentralized currency and things like that, I really don't think that that's the future currency. I don't
Mhm.
think that that's the currency that's going to change in the next 10 years. I think
Mm.
this
Oh,
will
you think
be.
it's changing in the next 10 years?
Yeah, I think we're in the end days of the US dollar. Yeah, I
Wow.
think it's coinciding with like the timeline shift of 2027. I think
Mhm.
that the next US currency is going to be the central bank digital currency, but that's going to come with so much so much like forced or required technological adaptation that there's going to be people, it's going to be two paths. There's going to be people that either adopt the digital currency or go back to silver and gold.
Silver and
God's money,
gold,
right?
silver and gold. Do you know what movie that's from? It's from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the
Oh,
claymation.
oh, okay.
Yeah, God's currency. Yeah, and it's so interesting. Like I have so many notes written down about what I want to like. Obviously, we're the shift from scarcity to abundance. It really has nothing to do with the currency that we're using. It's like a
Hmm.
way.
Yeah. Because what is abundance without your definition of abundance could change tomorrow. Like tomorrow, if there's no electricity, your definition of abundance is going to be completely different than it is today, where like none of these lamps are going to matter. That's not abundance of light if there's no electricity, right? Like that's one example.
Right.
So it's like,
Oh, wow. So like the vessel will
yeah,
change. That
exactly.
makes so much sense when you say it like that.
Yeah, yeah. Like what is all this going to be if there's no electricity? That's not going to be abundance, right? So
Uh-huh.
abundance is your definition of it is going to shift as like the changes that are coming shift, which is why again we have to like suspend our idea of abundance and like manifesting abundance, manifesting money. I think that all those things are great because that helps us survive right now and thrive right now and build what we want to build while this resource is still plentiful and available to us. But we need to like observe our identities outside of the dollars too, right? And I think
Mm.
that'll, when we're talking about the new earth economy and plugging into it, I think a lot of people that haven't been successful under the matrix, under the current 3D parameters around money, will really find success in the new earth economy as that starts to come to fruition. Because there's a reason that some people now, there's a reason a lot of intuitives and psychics now haven't resonated and haven't found financial success under
Mhm.
the old system. And it's because they weren't really, it wasn't like simpatico to their system, right? It
Mhm.
felt so discoherent that they couldn't assimilate to it. So they're going to
Right.
assimilate to what a more natural, earth-based
Yeah.
abundance.
I was just feeling like because to me it's very what it is at the root of it is shifting out of the linear creation model which has like human constructs and like all of these templates on top of it to the quantum creation model where it's like plugging into Mother Earth and plugging into
Mm-hmm.
more of like it's shifting from human, I guess, rule book to like the universal
Mm-hmm.
laws of energy, and it's going to transcend currency.
Yeah.
So,
That's why the exploitation, sorry to interrupt, but that's why the exploitation and stuff like that, like, I've even seen this shift in the online space, like the people that, do like really sketchy sales stuff, like it doesn't work anymore, and it's
mhm,
not going to work. Like the old ways of like extracting and being like exploitive to people, and just like the whole competition based model of like you need to fight for your place, like there isn't enough for anybody. People that are still using those tactics are going to find that they become obsolete. There's
mhm,
like a point of obsolescence where it's like that actually, it doesn't matter how much you try to like pump it up, it's not going to work
mhm.
for you. So
Well, and it's like, yeah, I'm just getting so much about because there's an exposure of darkness right now, but there's such an exposure, like 100x light right now.
mhm.
And that's what's happening is like there's so much light. And what is light? Abundance, limitless potential. It's like,
Mhm.
and what is abundance? It means excess. It means there's more than enough, like pouring from overflow, whether it's time, money, any kind of currency. Are like being provided for and being nourished. And like abundance is like me hugging Jacq and like bursting into tears because I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I mean, being around people who expand you, that's abundance.
Yeah.
And so it's transcending all of that, but there's so much light being revealed that it's like wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. And more of the collective is waking up and the psychic abilities whether people realize it or not, like there's a lot of us psychic abilities coming online right now, especially
Mm.
with Pluto and Aquarius. And so the old like extraction models, which like a lot of us, I can say that I was programmed to extract my own life force.
Mhm.
Um, and I actually created a lot of success that way in the past. Um, it just it just is over, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Especially people not even realizing it with the subconscious. It's like, oh, no. but they don't necessarily understand the energetics behind fully why. Like if we're
Mhm.
looking at the collective and the masses.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why a lot of what I teach is what I call like solar codes or solar abundance, because really like the first relationship we all have with abundance is with the sun. So yeah,
Mm.
like, and I think a lot of people can do a lot of work with the moon, and like the moon is cool. It definitely has lessons for us, right? But like we literally wouldn't be alive right now without the
Uh-huh.
sun, whereas like humanity would live without the moon. Like we actually could. The source of all abundance on this planet is the sun, which is our star, which is where we're meant to ascend with our star. So
Mhm.
I think that's really at its core when we continue to peel back the layers and layers of like why people have money blocks, why they keep doing certain things with money, trying to manifest abundance and all of that. What it really comes down to is what they're seeking is a relationship with the sun.
Wow. Okay, and literally, let's just highlight a few things. By the way, Jacq is her human design. She's a 4/6 ego manifester, which is rare. I'm a 4/6 mental projector, which is
Just as rare.
rare,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, she's a Scorpio rising and a Scorpio moon. So for her to say that the moon is like she's a very lunar, her soul chose a lunar expression in this lifetime, I think. But Gemini is very like airy and I mean,
Mhm.
Gemini's June. June is warm. It's the sun. It's summer. I'm a Leo sun, but when you were saying sun and solar codes, and like that's really what we are. I mean, what is abundance? And you talk about beyond currency and new earth is like, okay, new is like code for ancient codes coming back, which seem new. And then earth, it's like the elementals, you know? And
Mhm.
so earth would shrivel up into a frozen thing without the sun. And that is like Christ consciousness.
Mhm. Yeah, sun. The
Sun,
sun.
S-O-N, and
Mhm.
like Yeshua, not the distorted religious, I guess,
Yeah. I know
and
what you're
stuff out there
saying.
that exists. I love that definition of just like it is okay, all coming back to that sun and that nourishment and that warmth. And what I really feel with that is like an ability to be seen as
Mhm.
well is going to be very tied to abundance because what does the sun do? It shines. And like
Mhm.
we're recording this on a Sunday. I mean, of course.
Mhm.
And it's Sundays are all for me as a Leo, the sun is extremely important because it's the ruler of Leo. You're here to shine your light. Um, so I'm just like, I'm gathering all the artifacts of what you just shared, and it's like the more we shine our light and also are willing to be seen in our full magic, bringing it back to the witch or warlock or whatever word for you that represents like a powerful magical folk, or like
Mhm.
your expression of that, like the more we can be not like shine our light and also be seen by God source, by the sun, but seen by fellow humans and souls, the more we're going to activate abundance for one another.
Mhm. Yeah, yes. And especially when it comes to, the thing about the sun and like receiving solar codes, it's all a receiving energy. There's nothing we can give to the sun, right? Like
Right.
the best we can do is probably not dig all the magnets up out of the earth and reflect it back at the sun, like all the satellites are doing, right? We probably could do that and that would like make a difference, but we can't really give anything to the sun. It's purely a receiving relationship. And so, an important part of that too is a lot of people are stuck like, okay, this is good. We're gonna go like we're just gonna go there. A
Okay,
lot of
I don't know what's about to happen. Let's see what happens.
a lot of people's etheric or auric fields are stuck in the moon matrix. They're stuck in the eighth sphere. There's that's where a lot of the like ritualistic low magic that we see on the global stage the whole purpose of that is like essentially keeping the souls under the moon matrix. And so
Mhm.
I think it, you know, when we're talking about solar abundance and receiving from the solar codes, it's not like necessarily getting your body out in the sun, although I think that if you feel drawn to that, you know, I'm a big fan of it. But you know, different people's skin can handle different things. So I never, you know, I never encourage sunbathing necessarily, but think of all the ways in which we've been told that to stay out of the sun or to stay blocked from the sun, that permeates our subconscious, it permeates our aura and our etheric field. So an important practice is like also sending your etheric body up to the sun, like visualize it moving past the moon block, picture it moving
Mm,
past the moon matrix, and you know, in astral travel and things like that, like move your etheric body up
yeah.
further towards the solar codes. So it's not necessarily, it's not below the moon. Hopefully
Right.
that'll resonate for the right
Yeah,
people.
for
They'll
the
be like,
correct people.
yes.
Yeah. Well, I've gotten really, really into Kabbalah, and everything I learn is like, how do I stay tapped into the light of Creator? And that's what it is, the light of
Mhm.
Creator. What is, I mean, there's so many different words for the same thing, but like, I loved how you shared in terms of it's like a moon matrix.
Mhm.
And it's not about deleting working with the moon. I mean, I work with the moon, you know, I in my membership Angel Air, like I'm going to drop a whole audio about okay, the full moon in Scorpio and this is what we're doing and we're like
Totally.
all of that is very very real. And I think what you're saying with the moon matrix is like almost this like collective programming of like you must be in the shadow
Mhm.
rather than in the light.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there a lot of people like I always say, because I you know, I took a break from any moon work, and I think that it's also like taking a break from the any like moon systems is important too, because like then you'll come back to it when you're ready for it. But a lot of people have been so moon heavy and not solar heavy that
Mm.
they need to balance the scales a little bit. So yeah, that's like a whole topic in itself. But you're totally right about like living in the shadow, and it's more so just about that's where when we look at like the low magic that's happening, that's in the lower 4D. That's all they can control. That's as far up as they can go, which is why it stops at the moon. If they could go higher, they
Mm.
would, but they can't, right? Like that low magic
Mm.
can't go higher than that. So it's not so much like the moon. The moon is actually keeping it. It's not really the moon. It's all of the rituals and the magic that have been done around the moon that creates like
Mm.
the lunar matrix essentially. So
Yeah.
because that's as high as that magic can go. That's why, like, the moon landing, like, you know, why is there so much mystery around? Did we, you know, it's conspiracy to say you didn't land on the moon, and then there's people that don't question the narrative at all, but like, you know, really, they're doing they did ritual on the moon. That's actually what occurred. There was a ritual done on the moon. Both of those astronauts that landed on the moon were 33rd degree Freemasons. They performed a ritual at specific coordinates. It's what they're trying to do on Mars right now. So, you know, the any of the Mars stuff, that's
Mm.
all you know, whether you agree that they did or did not land there, they were physically there or not, what's happening is rituals done on those on the moon and on Mars.
Yeah, and I think the and anybody who's listening, like, okay, if you feel like activated by that, first of all, like an activation is just like there's something being awakened within you to just be curious and explore. It's like you are the authority on you. You know what's correct for
Totally.
you, and it's like it's really important to keep an open, curious perspective.
Yeah, and I
Um,
never want to try to convince anyone outside. My opinion changes on this kind of stuff all the time. So I'm not
yeah.
like married to my definition of it. Like I think
Uh-huh.
if you would have asked me 10 years ago, I would have said there's no way we landed on the moon. And now I'm like, oh, I see how that was actually a cover up for what was actually happening. They did, and that they
Yeah.
just didn't want to tell everybody that they're doing all these rituals. So instead, they're just going to make up the mainstream conspiracy is going to be that we didn't land on the moon. So I'm not married to like really any of my opinions or ideas, and don't try to convince other people of that kind of stuff. It's more just that's my opinion.
Yeah, well,
I got to be here to speak my truth. So
well, and that, I mean, first of all, it's important, and second of all, the foundation is this idea that there are different forces alive right now, pushing different types of energy around. And like when we think about like abundance and connecting to that ultimate light, it's like being and Kabbalah, it's called like the opponent. There are negative forces that seek to distract you from the light, seek to separate you from the light. And I think that's a really big part of New Earth, is like being really real about like, hey, not every energy out there. I mean, this is why we had the serpentine on the altar. Not every energy out there is for the highest timeline and good of all. And something that I say over and over, this is like one of my life goals is the MLK quote. I want to make this quote irrelevant. It's those who love peace must learn to organize just like those who love war. And so really acknowledging that like there's been a lot of organization with the negative energies, and that, you know, when we talk about abundance and the solar abundance, and obviously, you know what's abundance? Like unshakable trust in your knowing. Like, you know how abundant that is? We get to be more organized about that. I work with my clients a lot about like, okay, you have spiritual gifts, but like we got to refine it. We got to like be masterful with it and secure the perimeter. It's like me at the airport. I'm like, okay, secure the perimeter. There's all these energies. They're not mine. Like,
yeah, exactly.
So I think it's really important just even to have that dialogue within yourself about, okay, what's light and what's dark? What's, you know, there's instant gratification or long-term blessing, like they're different portals to the same thing. And what's your experience of that?
Yeah. I don't have better words for what you just said about it, but I love that. Different portals to the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm speechless at that.
Speechless at that. Well, and the other thing I just feel inspired to share, because when I start an episode, basically, I mean, talking about like, I don't know if I identify with the word witch, but I identify with the word musician. Obviously that one, but magician.
Right.
Like things like that. And so part of that is with the offering of this podcast, I don't fully know what's going to come through before, which is like very, very exciting. So I'm getting like, okay, new earth economy and solar code abundance, but like also Jacq, you're very Atlantean. And so a lot of this new earth economy, like I lived in Atlantis, but I lived a lot more timelines in Lemuria. And for people listening that are not super familiar with that, these are just previous civilizations that experienced like extreme falls, because basically we got really, really power hungry with technology, and we chose
the divergent timeline.
We chose the inorganic timeline versus the organic. Like basically, we didn't choose the sun. We chose
whatever the moon was at the time. That's our, the lunar, that is our Atlantean Lemurian karma, I think.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's my perspective of it.
Like collectively. Because so what's occurring right now is like we have collective karma, and every single soul, you chose it, man. You're here for things, especially if you're listening to this podcast. You're here to access your version of new earth economy, your version of new earth abundance. And when you make your dream, it's an important part of how we tip the scales to reharmonizing with this limitless abundance. And it's important to know as well that, like, there are inner knowings that we have from past lives in Atlantis, past lives in Lemuria. There's like similar choice points happening right now,
Mm-hmm.
and we have an opportunity to choose differently.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so funny. We were at Whole Foods. This is such a simple example, but it you can apply it to so much. But we're going in the checkout line, and I was like, we could go in the line with the human checking us out, or we could go to the like automatic checkout. And I said to Jacq, I was like, well, which one? Human or robot? And she's like, definitely human. Which is like, honestly, you could sum down like any, I guess, any crossroads you feel like you're at in your life right now where you're like, okay, new earth economy, or like how do I tap into these solar codes abundance? Like how, like if you're getting down to the brass tacks of like cool story, but like how, if you tap into that, like am I choosing the organic
Mm-hmm.
human path, or am I like choosing this like it feels like amazing and quick and like a one night stand kind of. um it's like a quick hot flash of energy, but it's like gonna go away. um to me, that's the real like separating point,
Mm-hmm.
because in Atlantis
Mm-hmm.
we got super addicted to technology, and then we lost track of the human spirit, and then the whole civilization perished.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, and I think especially, within the last couple years, because I think last time I was on the podcast, like the AI stuff wasn't even to the degree it is now. But
No.
now there's people where Chat GPT is their best friend. People are already losing their autonomy to Chat GPT's decisions on things. So it's like we're
Hmm.
seeing that, the acceleration of technology is just going to keep speeding up.
Hmm.
The pattern shows that it's just going to keep ramping up. And, that's a slippery slope because that's how technology becomes in control. It's how we lose control again
Hmm.
of the organic timeline. So yeah, it's a super important decision to make. And I really think everyone, again, whatever time frame you can tune into, but I think in the next 10 years, there's going to be a decision point, a choice point for people of, are they going to take that final decision into essentially technological slavery or chaotic freedom? So
Chaotic freedom.
yeah, the technology and even how like the matrix is structured, the main purpose of it is it creates order. It creates
Mm.
behaviors that all gravitate towards a median of what's acceptable
Hmm.
mediocrity, right?
Yeah, and I
So
mean, you guys hear me talk about mediocrity all the time. I'm like, it's spiritual negligence, right? Because you're here to be amazing. You're here to be world class. You literally have gifts that only you can do at a world class level. And when you achieve excellence, you literally birth new realities on our planet.
mhm.
Like there's so much I want to say, but the Matrix, the I've had like 10 flashes all at once. Um, when we think about it's like compliant structure that's from
Mhm.
outside yourself, and when
Mhm.
we move toward new earth economy, it's like real liberation,
Mhm.
without what's the word, regulation.
Yeah, yeah. So it's that's the choice point of, do you want ordered predictability or do you want unpredictable freedom? So
Mm,
that's the, technology. I mean, it already has provided so many comforts, but yeah, like again, like the trajectory or the choice point of essentially, are we repeating Atlantis or not, is going
yeah,
to be like, that final push into this is just your life, the final push into no, I'm rejecting this.
yeah.
And I think also, having your relationship with technology be secondary to your solar abundance relationship is
Yeah.
really important too. You know,
Yeah.
we need to undo the blue light. We need to undo the frequencies. You know, we cannot be getting like chips in our head and things like that. That's taking us off of the natural organic timeline because
Right.
that's where the new earth economy is birthed, and different people are aligning to that. That might not be using those same kind of words, but like the
Right.
feeling behind it is the
Yeah.
same.
Well, and I asked somebody, this was 2 years ago. I called one of my previous clients who he was very, I mean, he's extremely successful within the Matrix, like huge, but he's like a ninja within the Matrix, like undercover
Hmm.
doing New Earth, which I think is really important. And it's like not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur, you know?
Hmm.
Um, he said something really powerful to me. He's like, AI is not coming for people's jobs. Um, Someone who uses AI is. So it's like AI is
The medium.
the it's kind of like social media. Like if
Hmm.
you're tapped into your spirit and the oracle and like the truth of your soul, and then you use technology to disseminate that truth, that's very Pluto and Aquarius, like for the highest timeline and good of all, because think about how much light you can share with so many people at
Yeah,
once.
yeah.
It's like the if the priority gets flipped and it's like, okay, the technology comes first and we forget the seed level. It's all about the seed level. Like,
Hmm. Yeah, like I'm even seeing people like use Chat GPT as like a divination tool, like pull a card for me and things like that. Like that's,
oh,
you know, that's like just one example um of like that choice point, you
mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah.
Where are you, yeah, like where are you grounding further into yourself, or where are you giving like a piece of yourself away? Like the proper categorization I think for technology is it provides something to us. It is not above us and we are serving it. It is there
Right.
to help with labor.
Yeah,
it's
no, for
it's here
real.
to assist us with labor, right? And that's what it was for many years until 30 years
Yeah.
ago. It purely was here to assist us with labor.
I
So,
mean, even like, 'cause I was born in Michigan, but like in Detroit, it was like they could only make however many cars before the what
mhm,
is it called? Assembly line,
assembly
before
line.
assembly line was even like invented. And the assembly line, it was labor to help
Mhm,
with creation. I mean, creativity. Think about all the
mhm.
different car models that could get reached to new people.
And that's why this
Yeah.
point is really, it is like that next industrial revolution. So, that's, you know, that's why I really love reading, like we were talking about earlier, like books from like 1880 to 1920, because that's really when like, you know, the seeds of technology were emerging. And, you know, there's a lot of people that were able to see those patterns ahead of time. And I
Hmm.
also think a lot of spiritual information was less infiltrated and less edited. Like there was, you
Hmm.
know, people's channels were also more clear because there weren't frequencies disturbing that on this
Yeah.
planet. You read a book by candlelight, right?
Yeah.
So there's like actually less frequencies. There's more of a connection to an easier connection to stars or the moon or whatever, because there's not a billion satellites in orbit, right? Like it's it's going to become increasingly more difficult for people. It's going to be a harder choice to make, a less convenient choice to make, to choose the organic timeline. But that's
Hmm.
really, that's the foundation of New Earth Abundance. You're not going to be able to um you know, not falling for the facade and like turning up your spiritual discernment of
Hmm.
you making sure you know the difference between something that's divine and something that's technological. And
Yeah.
sometimes those things can merge,
Hmm.
sometimes, but oftentimes it's not.
Right.
Oftentimes the technology is a portal for lower 40 entities to come through.
Yeah. And so just being real, just yeah, discernment at all-time high
Hmm.
and just leaning into the organic abundance. And like as you're listening to this, like you're going to develop a process. You're going to develop a
Hmm.
knowing like, hey, this is what happens psychically These are like my signs and symbols, or like this is how it feels in my body when I know something's divine. This is how it feel like you are, it's with that refinement, it's our refinement is going to be like demanded of us to be higher because ever since the equinox in spring 2025, the timelines are getting faster and
Mhm.
faster and faster and faster and faster. And so it's like we up leveled in the video game, but like 10 levels at once. And so
Mhm.
the refinement of the discernment is it's like if you're already a diamond, you're just being buffed and you're becoming a lot more shiny and you get to be in that seat of empowered choice. And I just invite anybody who's experiencing this, and I'm doing this myself, I'm sure you are too, but it's like I can't tell you what it's going to feel like in your body to
Yeah.
know the difference. This is where you get to be in your own like magic and spiritual power and just like rootedness of figuring out your personal process, um and then choosing from there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, this has
Yeah,
been
that
amazing.
feels
It
complete,
feels
doesn't it?
complete. Thank you so much for being here and for all the work you've done just to, have such a clean channel. And thank you for
Thank
your
you.
heart and sharing with all of us.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have one question I always ask people at the end. What is your definition of a better world?
Mm, wow. People waking up to their potential.
Yeah.
That's all you need. That initial spark. That's a better world.
Yeah. And we all just the spark, 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 and then the whole world lights up.
Hmm.
Hmm. Well, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Happy we were able to do this.
Yeah. And thank you to everybody who's listening. If you want to get in my world, you want to go deeper into this work, the links to everything will be in the show notes. I will have the links to Jack's work in the show notes as well. And go out there, be the real you, be the light, be the abundance, be the portal of the new earth economy in real time, Solar Codes edition. Go make a stranger smile. You literally have no idea what people are going through. And speaking of that spark, you could be the reason someone believes in life again.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I'm endlessly grateful for this community. And I will see you next time on A Better World with Adrienne.